People are talking about potentially V having a fling with a female soldier and what that is about. People are talking about some soldiers post and just post-military, what V looks like. And then we have an update on Hybe and their police investigation. So dumplings is Dave Disci. Let's get into it. We have an update on the largest ongoing investigation in K-pop, but with Hybe and I guess the government. If you're not familiar, I want to do a quick, very short rundown on what's going on. But I've talked about this numerous times, so it's definitely available on my channel if you just want to go through some of the older videos. It's been alleged that Bang has tricked former shareholders into selling their shares in the company prior to going public. So it was alluded towards or made to believe by these former shareholders before the label went public that the label was not going to go public anytime soon and had no intention, so they ended up selling their stock, which allowed, I guess, for the label when they went public to have more shares to give out or make more money. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but this falls under something that is illegal, as it's not great to allegedly trick people who are investing into you. Plus, anything that's going to affect whether or not someone decides to put money into something would be illegal. The searches have gone pretty in-depth, and it seems to have only constantly escalated. And to my understanding, this means that they have at least some sort of evidence to be able to continuously escalate in this case. And this has happened to the point where apparently the office was recently raided by police officers that had a search warrant. So a search warrant was then cleared by, of course, a judge or someone to allow the police officers to go in and do a full search. I don't know how fruitful this would be, because it's quite obvious or clear that if this case is escalating to this, that at one point something would be searched, right? Like, if not their office physically, their digital records, like emails and stuff, would have been subpoenaed in court. And of course, I'm not saying that Hybe would have done anything, but the idea that a company would have deleted or gotten rid of all that information would, of course, make sense. Why wouldn't they? If you knew that there was a pending piece of evidence, that the whole case relied on this little piece of evidence, and you were the only one that had it, and you wanted to clear your name, why wouldn't you just delete it? And again, I don't believe Hybe has done this or is doing this, because I don't necessarily know if they're guilty yet. And if they're not, then there's nothing for them to hide, right? But what I'm saying is, I don't understand the point of a search warrant, because obviously anyone can just delete it. Because if I was in that boat, I would have deleted everything. So a search warrant would have just ended up being fruitless, in my opinion. What would they be searching for that wouldn't be deleted? However, Hybe has come out, specifically Bang, and said that they are cooperating with the authorities and they're doing the best that they can. They're listening to the instructions and they are doing everything that the police asks of them. I'm assuming this is talking about handing over specific documents and stuff. And they're trying to prove their innocence because they believe that they are, and that is great. Is there a chance that they can be successful in saving the company? Absolutely, because nothing has gone to court yet, and none of this information has been made public yet. So the reason why I believe they would need to do a search warrant would be because they didn't have enough information. For example, if this was a murder case and the killer's face was clearly on camera and was clearly seen murdering someone, then it's an open shut case. They don't need to go find more evidence. And if they do have a search warrant, and if they need to go through digital documents and all that stuff, then it's pretty clear, at least from my opinion, that they don't really have as much evidence as I think the news sites are making us believe. So it's sounding like they have a lot of evidence, which is why they've been able to go from step one to the next, but a lot of the steps would imply that they don't have as much evidence as they need, at least in my opinion. So we shall see. It is 100% not a good thing for the label to go under or for this case to be won by the government. Of course, it would benefit the shareholders and it would benefit all the people that got scammed, right? Of course, if anyone got scammed, I wish for their justice, right? But the company going under would mean a potential end to a lot of the artists that we are seeing now. Members of BTS and some of the bigger groups probably would have no issues finding another label, or maybe they would, I don't know. But the ones that are a little bit smaller, that are just coming up or starting their career, there's a good chance that they would not be able to find another label, and that is the end of their career. So this is not anything that I think is going to be good for K-pop artists. And it's also not going to be good for the economy, as the labels themselves bring in billions of dollars to the Korean economy. So we're talking about a significant financial loss for the country should the label go under, but also the label has intertwined pretty closely with American pop industry now too. So we're talking about a potential job loss of thousands and thousands of people. But then all I see online are comments saying, well, good, it should end. That is such a juvenile way of thinking when you know that there are thousands and thousands of people that rely on this company for a job. You can hate the company, but you also have to admit that there is a point where any company can become too big to fail, and I think Hybe is there. It would be catastrophic for the rest of the world and the country. People have also been speaking about a recent picture that has gone viral post-military, and some people believe that some of this was already leaked prior by soldiers and stuff like that, but we are seeing this officially now. And I don't think that people are able to just get over how muscular V looks. There have been several pictures posted online where it shows a side-by-side of what V looked like prior to the military, and of course, what V looks like now. Now, of course, you can imagine people like Jin and maybe some of the other members who have sort of returned back a little bit to their prior body type. There is a reason for that, right? Like, it is easier to dance and perform when you have a specific body type and you're thinner and more flexible. Like, for example, you can get buff to the point where it's difficult to take your shirt off. I doubt this will be an issue for any of the BTS members, but as you can see with extra muscle, you're not built for dancing and doing that stuff, right? This is for a different industry. That's why every industry people look different. A lot of people, as I said, were very shocked at the look of stuff, with even the person that was in the picture with V basically saying that he hopes that V doesn't get good at working out as well because V is just good at everything. This is a joke, but I can definitely feel the pain of the person who said this, because I think we all know someone who's just good at everything, whether that's an older sibling or a friend that you just know and you're a little bit jealous of that person. And in this case, since V would be slightly newer to working out, as he maybe hadn't done that type of working out before, and let's say you have, you might think in your head, well, that is one thing that I have, I'm going to keep it to myself. But then you see the moment V does it, he picks it up really quickly and he's really good at it too. And you're like, oh boy, he's just good at everything. I can't have anything to myself. But some people can't help that they're good at everything, and that's just what all the BTS members are. There was also a signature photo that went viral from the military where it showed V writing a sign-off on it. He signed his name as well as left a little bit of a note, and it was translated online to say thank you for the romantic time that we had together. So some people were wondering, what happened to the military? And if there was a romantic time that happened there, did he hook up with someone, with one of the soldiers? Maybe he had a fling with one of the older soldiers. Whatever it was, people are wondering what that meant. This was interesting because a lot of people ran with this, and a lot of people were like, what does he mean by this, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I ended up looking up the actual translation and doing a long search, accurate or not, I don't know, to actually figure out what this meant. And I came to the conclusion that he actually said, always be happy. That of course makes sense to me, and potentially even more sense to me, as it of course makes sense that he would tell the community at the military, or anyone who was going to the military might see the signature, to be happy. He wishes that when they enter and when they leave, that they have a successful life and continue to be happy and successful in their life. This also aligns to the message that he always gives us to the community, where he says that he hopes that we are all happy and well and all of those things. It also obviously doesn't make sense given he knows who he is, and he knows saying something like romantic or intimate or whatever would definitely be taken the wrong way. I initially thought when he said thank you for the romantic time, he was probably saying something like thank you for the good time, or thank you for the time that we had, that ended up being a little bit more intimate. And not romantically, but intimate as in close platonically. So I thought that there was a little bit of a translation error with just that one word, which obviously could make a big difference, but it seems to be completely off, and that's not at all what he said. So of course, taking this into consideration, you have to also realize how off some translations can be now. Not every single time there is a translation of something, and I'm going to be able to find the actual meaning of it or what the translation is to English. So this is why I always say when something's translated from Korean to English, take it with a grain of salt, because we don't actually know what it really means. And even if it actually was translated to directly say thank you for the romantic time, we don't know if the word romantic means something different in Korean. And romantic is a word that we took and to mean love and stuff, while in Korea it could just mean a good time, right? And then there's cultural implications and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that though. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.